Sometimes you're giving him love and sometimes you're giving him punishment, then what happens is the child does not start to take responsibility of his behavior. I remember at one point I had become PhD in FIFA, PhD in Beyblades, PhD in things that I had zero interest in. Why? Because I know that if I show my children that I'm interested in things that they are interested in, someday when they are not interested in what I do, also they will show interest because I showed interest in things that how to deal with a 10-year-old boy's misbehavior. I think the most important question to ask yourself is, where in their life are they wanting attention, or what are they wanting attention for? Any sort of misbehavior by a younger child is a child screaming out to be seen, to be heard. If we can start to see and hear them in real, then they won't need to misbehave, correct? So all misbehavior, if we had to put it to that there is a certain amount of attention this child is needing, then that becomes much easier to handle. 2-3 things with a 10-year-old boy. See if you can start to spend a lot of your time talking to him about things that interest him. So one of the most important things to do is I remember at one point I had become PhD in FIFA, PhD in Beyblades, PhD in things that I had zero interest in. Why? Because I know that if I show my children that I'm interested in things that they are interested in, someday when they are not interested in what I do, also they will show interest because I showed interest in things that, so they learn through mirroring or seeing, right? Another thing is to build choices and consequences. So if the only thing a child gets is shoutings or, not to behave in that manner, you're playing the good cop, bad cop by sometimes you're giving him love and sometimes you're giving him punishment, then what happens is the child does not start to take responsibility of his behavior. Anytime he needs attention, he will throw a tantrum because he knows his tantrum gives him attention. Instead, you need to set choices and consequences. What do I mean by choices and consequences? Whatever he is doing, let him pay the price for it, because that's how the universe works. The other day I was watching a video by Jordan Peterson, and he said one of the things as parents we must do is that we shouldn't be more nice to our children than what the world is. We have to teach them how to operate in the world. So when we make it all cushiony and lovey and amazing, what can happen is they don't know how to deal with the world then, correct? So learning to give them a small replica of how the world will treat them is important. Another thing that I had heard a person say is, if you are disliking something in your child, you should change it because the world will dislike it doubly. Because we are as parents so far more forgiving. So those are great pointers for me. So I'd love for you to start to look at how can you set choices and consequences. Let's say your child loves ordering on Swiggy. Okay, so the day he misbehaves, he doesn't get that food, or he doesn't get TV time, or he doesn't get video game time. Now you can keep sulking as much as you like, my darling, but if you don't know how to behave yourself, you're not getting nothing. Okay, and I think that's very important, that in a world where we've started to believe that parenting is all about becoming friends with our child, remaining a mother. They have so many friends, they have only one mother. I think staying a parent is also very important. And while you can be extremely polite, sweet, nice in your tonality, you don't have to change your tonality into anger and Kali coming out. Your tonality can be extra sweet, but the firmness in your voice should let the child know who's the deciding person here, correct? So see if any of this helps you manage, especially the choices and consequences. You have to start to let him decide the consequences and then keep the consequences. Beta, I have a problem with you not finishing your food. If you don't finish your food, what do you think should be the punishment? You decide and we will supervise that. You don't tend to finish your homework, or you don't tend to speak to your sister properly, or you don't, whatever your problems are, make a list of that. And maybe you can make him also make a list that, look, what are you getting upset about? What are the things that are not working out for you in this house? Come, let me either convince you or you convince me. Like I remember my children wanted to eat pizza, and then we decided that instead of every day they're coming and asking, every Wednesday will be pizza day. Once a week I'm okay with you eating junk food, but every day if you request it will annoy me, right? So like that you can come up with deals that, okay, if you want to eat that packet of chips, you have to have a fruit before that. So we don't take away or deprive our children, we give them solutions around, if you really want it, Sometimes I tell my son, if you brush your teeth all 30 days at night before sleeping, then at the end of it, I'm willing to buy you that game that you want to pick up on some app in the phone. But you are not ready to keep your side of the commitment. You want me to keep my side of the commitment. Not going to work, Meri Jaan. So those are the conversations, because remember, these are all lessons for life for our children.